Welcome back to Chat Session Podcast. All three of us are together once again on different time zones. It's currently 9 a.m. in my time zone. What time is it in yours, Yvonne?
It is the Lord's Day.
What time is it when you start, brother?
It is still the Lord's Day at 11 p.m.
We're all on different time zones and stuff. Two of us are in the same country. One of us isn't. You can take a guess which one is it.
Anyways, we shouldn't be talking about Yvonne's
Two of us are probably
like
in the same universe. One of us isn't. What? Why I got dragged? Look. I am here on the Lord's Day at 8 a.m. Nails done, hair one color, eyebrows done.
I bought some nails the other day. I wanted to try these out. Let's see if
I went to the gym and I have a corset on because I gotta lose some weight.
I bought these. They're cute.
What?
Black
Wait,
with like
those
a
are
glitter
cute. What color is
reflect
that?
to them.
I can see it.
I also
I like that. I love black nail polish
that's
with
coming
the
up
glitter.
this in June. I'm gonna have multiple different outfits at nighttime, so I have to have nails that match all of them. And I wanted to see how this brand looks. And luckily, they're on Amazon, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna buy these, and just every night we'll have a different outfit to go out to the parties and shit, and have nails and makeup on and everything. Yes, the gaycation.
For the gaycation. See our other podcast.
Yes, the gaycation.
See our other podcast.
You gotta let yourself submit to the gaycation.
Now back to the go. Yes, but you also have to be ready. You have to try out, different looks for the gaycation.
Oh,
now go back to this corset.
DOD weight standards is a bitch, and I joined the service that has the strictest weight standards. So I am about. I have to lose 7 pounds at the least. And I was like, I can get taped. So like basically measure your neck, your bust, and your waist.
Not your bust.
Yes.
Not your bust. Your bosom.
They're trying to see if I'm still a 34A.
The military measures your bosom.
Oh, bitch, please.
To ensure that you fit in the corsets.
Even then, that means I have to count on another person being able to do math and do math well. And I don't trust people with numbers.
So it's not how much you weigh on the scale, it's how big your bosom
neck
is?
is the better for a lower body fat composition. But for me, if I...
What branch of the military are you in? If you don't.
Yeah.
See the world, sleeping last ever.
That makes that whole
join the army.
That whole thick neck thing makes sense because ain't nothing happening above the neck for most Marines.
We're looking for a few good men.
For most Marines, ain't nothing happening above that.
I love that line so much. It kept having layers. It kept going.
I love the Marines. I have dated my fair share. I used to live not too far from Camp Lejeune, and by not too far, I mean like 150, 175 miles. But I would go out my way to go to Camp Lejeune for fresh recruits.
You wonder why we call her Mother Gothel?
Camp Lejeune and some Marines.
Oh, well, I mean, at least you came out of it alive and able to use your organs. Not necessarily that they were going to harm you, but I'm just like, the Marines once again get tested on so many occasions. People going to the chaplain.
Okay, there's two things that are very important we wanted to talk about. The first thing is that as of today, TikTok is officially banned in the United States, as well as Caps Cut. So I have to find a new platform to edit videos on. Thanks a lot. Yeah, their partner brand is wrapped in with TikTok as well. So
TikTok. Oh, that could be interesting that we find out in the next couple of days, like so many things were wrapped into TikTok. You're going to go to the grocery store and you're going to be like, but that was my favorite candy bar.
Meta decided
that was made by TikTok
between their legs and be a coward. And yeah, that's about it. At this point, I'm just like, oh God, we're doing all this shit for nothing. Like there is yes, people do spend way too much time on social media and shit like that. That's a fair point. Obviously, everybody can say like, yeah, we can take some time off and not be so involved in our phones and everything like that. At the same time, there were worst things that have happened in those last few years in this country that were much more severe than TikTok.
My problem with it is more so the fact that it's just like, all you did was push people to a different app. That was always going to be the case, because what happens every few years, one of the big major companies, Meta, whatever the fudge, MySpace, Instagram, they make a big change, and then all of a sudden, all right, then now it's time to find a new app. Everybody left Tumblr because they got rid of all the spicy content on Tumblr for the most part. You can still find some.
Oh, I missed that. I missed some days. I used to have some good shit saved in my Tumblr account.
I miss that.
Yes, but
yeah. And I discovered Tumblr late, like way late, like maybe like a month before everybody
and then
left.
all
and I
like
was
the
like,
source stories I used to have saved up there and shit like that. I was like, why y'all get rid of this?
There was so much I found. There were so many things that became a canon part of my teenage development. Anyway,
so many people out there as well too. I was like, a lot.
Yeah, then they fled to Twitter.
You have the Twitter that was bought by
that didn't work out either, because now that's so
now.
I never got Twitter, though. I never got Twitter. As the oldest member of this crew, I just never got it.
I may or may not go there eventually. It's kind of just
I have a Blue Sky. I don't use it, so I don't.
I'm on Blue Sky.
The only thing I engage with it.
But I'm on Blue Sky.
I don't think it's bad. I don't have any problems with the app. It's more so it's just like all the major people. I have to rebuild my algorithm brick by motherfucking brick.
Yeah,
and that's the same. And it's the same problem I have with Instagram, where it's just like you find yourself in places where it's just like, I built this myself. I cannot be upset that I'm seeing this. I liked something, and somehow now the algorithm thinks that I want to see 5 white men telling me, what would you do if we were all in one room with you? I'm too black for this conversation. I shouldn't be in a room surrounded by 5 white men. That sounds terrifying.
Yeah. And I get what you're saying, and I think, no,
it's Ken Space. It's Ken.
No.
Oh no, I was looking at something. I wasn't actually reacting to you. I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's kind of me if I have.
Lord. Continue. Anyway, look, I didn't. Forgive me. I done lost my train.
But anyway,
I lost the train that left the
station.
There's
a lot more other shit happening right now than I think TikTok
gone.
needs to be banned. There's still a wildfire going on, which postponed a lot of things for a lot of people, and a lot of people lost their homes, which we're very sorry for.
And it was a majority black neighborhood that's losing their homes.
That is just so many people, not even just like celebrities, like people who just like every day who work hard to have their homes, who work to keep their homes, just lost them, and it's devastation. This was caused by, climate change, not because of DEI, like some people who.
No, not because of DEI. And let me put my foil hat on for a second.
There were some people who were
fires.
Not setting these particular ones, but there were some people who were setting fires in the area. Not to this magnitude. You would literally have to be on some high level arsonist shit to be able to set fires to this.
And this isn't me going against the tin half wheel, but as a previous California liver for over 18 years, sometimes it's people who set the fires, they just didn't mean to. Like it'd be one of those situations. Yeah. Like I have a friend who works as a camp ranger right now.
Yeah.
Or not a camp ranger, forest ranger. And she says it's like she consistently has to tell people like, hey, put the fire out. You know when the last time it rained? Do you not realize we're in a drought?
Right.
What are you doing?
Right. Right. You don't realize how dry it is. Don't set off fireworks. The things that you do, you think you wouldn't have to warn humans about, like, hey, we're under a severe drought. Don't set off fireworks. I remember here, not, in the South, not nearly to the level out in California, we were under a severe drought one 4th of July, and so, local government was like, hey, stuff, a lot of kindling, a lot of leaves. Let's not do the fireworks. Not in America. You don't tell people that they can't blow up a small part of it. They set off them fireworks like nothing was happening, and sure enough, you had little fires, not uncontrollable, but so like you said, sometimes it's not intentional.
You can't really control humanity when it comes to certain shit that we did. Then most wars would have broken out in history.
Oh, one of my favorite.
I know. Maybe if we had like an app where people could like watch things
Google.
and learn stuff, like in short form, it wasn't It wasn't too long, maybe a minute or so, just to kind of teach
I'm bringing
them,
on the satire you just throwing out right now.
important things.
The Koreans have a wonderful saying, and I say it to my coworkers all the time. If words were enough, we wouldn't have wars. We wouldn't have police. We wouldn't have lawyers, courts. Like, the ending part changes, but it's always like, if words were enough, if apologies were enough, we wouldn't have this. And that just makes me think about it. It's just like, and it's also because the government is trying to rescind, like, wait, you guys are okay with us just taking TikTok? Girl, take it. And now they've all started to move to a Chinese-owned app that is directly stealing people's data. They really said, like,
where the
it's like all this
CCP
is
like
and so ridiculous.
Excellent. We didn't. Right. We knew Americans.
This is also just another distraction from shit that's actually happening.
Excellent.
Seriously.
Correct. Yeah, and what's like somebody said, what's the difference between the CCP having your information
and then not only that, everybody
and a billionaire having your
information?
Data?
Would they be able to track us? Like, the government's been doing that. Like, I don't know why you actually.
Bro, you have your location on so your best friend can make sure you're not
like people know where you're. Like,
house.
It's not hard.
Right.
You're in a database.
Right now, hey Frank. Good morning, Frank. How you doing? It's the Lord.
Jeff at
Frank with the CSA
how are
is
you
listening
doing?
to us right now. That's his job. FBI is too busy for that.
The CIA,
I'm telling you,
DICK,
Frank, how you doing this morning? Breakfast is on me. It's just,
I just say all this bullshit.
It's all control, But I wanted to say, Star Mother, that was a powerful statement that you said, that Korean statement. I just imagine a very sexy South Korean man. What do you call it? Oppa?
Actually,
shirtless is saying that. As soon as you said that, like, I just saw
in a lot of good dramas.
Just hot for no reason.
Big.
Right. I don't know why that's my picture of South Korean men. It's just hot.
Your chest is looking big. What you been working out?
Just walking around.
I worked out chest today.
Your bosom looks full.
Your bosom.
I know, it's a problem. Because of genetics. It's because of genetics. My chest builds really fast. So it's just like.
Is it also because you're wearing a corset and it's kind of pushing you to be like a little more upwardly?
Like, it's like the corset is here.
I'm trying to say it in a nice way. We're trying to say it in a Joan Collins filthy 1980s
should be amazing.
My titties up.
Yes, that's the reason why it's hard for me to. I ended up standing up because I was like, I'm trying to lean back into it.
Yeah, you can't actually slouch in that shit. You actually have to have good fucking posture.
I know. If you were in the 18th century, you'd be killing it right now. You'd be a slave, but you would be a slave with good posture.
I came from a light-skinned woman.
You would be. Doesn't matter.
Dead ass.
What drop rule?
I think most Republicans need to be reminded of that rule. But
if you're not lighter than me,
because they said that she's not a black woman.
What drop rule?
You guys went with the one. About Kamala Harris. Like, you guys remember the one drop rule though?
Oh. Gosh, can I just say this? I know we're not deeply political. She released a little statement, sort of a farewell statement, and I thought that was the most gracious.
I hate that she has to. I hate that she has to
love
be
that
this
about
pinnacle of
her.
Grace and kindness to other people who are treating her so terribly. That's like.
Who are treating her so terrible, and compared to a person who was not the pinnacle of grace.
Okay, we're not getting political.
Who did not show up to the last
festivity. I understand that his inauguration is coming up literally tomorrow. And I understand that the former sitting presidents have some sort of obligation to be there because they're the former sitting presidents. And they were all at Jimmy Carter's funeral and everything like that. R.I.P. to Jimmy Carter, a great American president who actually did good things for this country and served this country the way that most presidents don't.
Mm.
Yes, he was a better human being.
Maybe
not the best president, but he was an amazing, better human. And this idea that, Michelle's not going to go to the inauguration, which is understandable. She's the first lady. She spent her time. She's done. She don't want to be a part of this. And I understand that, yes, they're presidents. There's the democracy and diplomacy and all this kind of stuff. But at the same time, the man who's getting inaugurated has spent a countless amount of years dragging every single one of his former predecessors who are going to be there including his former VP and everybody, and they all have to sit there and be like, I was like, seriously? Like, seriously? Like, you trying to put one in jail? Like,
I'm sorry. Am I supposed to sit next to someone who tried to have me murdered?
I'm
like,
all
am I
here
supposed
for
to say,
diplomacy and everything like
seat?
that, but I'm also here for...
Haven't seen you since
I'm
you
also
sent that
here
mob
for, like,
after
let's
me.
keep
How you doing?
things
You put on weight. How you
a level of, like, he didn't go to Biden's inauguration. He wasn't sitting there for it. He thought he didn't deserve it and all this other bullshit. So I was like, anywho.
No, it wasn't that he wouldn't go. He wouldn't leave the office. They had to force him out on that day. And because they had to force him out, he could not be there.
And how would that look? Like, not 24 hours ago, I was trying to, like, still get a coup going. Now I'm showing up to your inauguration. The optics, that looks bad. It looks bad for me. There is. But you know what? Here's the thing. And this is just maybe this is my rose-colored glasses thing. We survived the last time he was there. And we will survive this time. Especially Black people. Because we have survived so much. We have a high level of resiliency when it comes to... So if you hear my voice, and we have a high level of resiliency, if you hear my voice and you're saddened by this or you're affected in some kind of way,
there are people out there who are uniting, who are standing together in solidarity of, like, we're all going to go through this terrible time together. Even though we're all different pockets and everything like that, everybody's going to find a group that can be like, let's sit down, let's talk, let's get it all out. Let's, we're angry, we're sad, but we also can comfort each other and everything like that. So
we're going to be TikTok, but IRL. And there's, before there was a tickety talk, you kids, people did shit.
Well, before there was TikTok, there was Vine.
In real life. Like,
if it wasn't for Instagram, we would still have Vine.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
I'm still thinking about it. But sorry. I'm gonna let you keep going because this is special.
Okay, let me. Go ahead. No, I don't want to stop you, but let me rephrase that. Before there was social media, you nut jobs.
Yes.
There was in real life, and I guess because I'm part of the generation that was right on the cusp or right before social media, I'm used to community being also in real time. I'm used to talking to people and doing what we're doing right now, which is so much fun to me. It's so much more fun than telling somebody to suck my dick from the back on Instagram comments or something like that, which I have no problem saying it to the person in real life either, because I'm from New Orleans and I swear anyway.
If you will buck.
There's
when she does this with her hands, like who's the fuck, like
in real life,
Riley,
Hi, Mary and Babs, just like her nails, like it's the shit.
You have to limber up your wrists, because you don't know what's gonna happen, right? You gotta, now if I start pulling back my hair, like, okay, wait, what?
Y'all seen Babs, right?
Yeah,
I just love that scene where Halle Berry characters keep trying to explain how to punch somebody. I was like, what?
Yeah. So there's a whole thing to it. You can go for the surprise attack if you want, but you want clarification before you get to that level. So you want to just make sure everything is limber and loose. They don't teach you this in the military, Star Mother. Like, make sure everything limber, loose before we start, so you don't injure nothing.
They definitely teach people how to make a fist, but it's complicated. It's interesting. It's interesting. They're not going to tell you to be like, you should have already been warmed up, but like they're more so like, hey, you're in the middle of nowhere and you just ran out of ammunition and homeboy's 15 feet away. What you gonna do about it? There ain't no limber up. It's just like, girl, you better run, tackle, take him to the ground,
shoot first,
punch.
Ooh, run, tackle. I like that. That's what I like about the Marines, the physicality.
Yeah, but most of them are bottoms. Is the problem.
Oh,
the Marines are looking for a few good men who have not slept with Blanche Devil.
Marines. You know what? Based on I could. Yes.
I've been on enough bases to know. There's always a diaper person. There's always a furry, and
Not a diaper.
Yeah, and I'm not shaming. I'm just saying they
I think I saw
on
one person who was wearing one. I don't know if it was like for a medical reason or they were just wearing one just in general, but it basically looked like they were actually wearing one underneath their sweatpants.
That's true. That is one of those kinks that you have to kind of be careful that if you say something,
no, it wasn't. It's not a miracle. It's not a medical thing. They are saying adult baby diaper lover on their post.
Oh,
and every time I see it.
Do they like to nurse too? Usually, adult baby diaper lovers that I've met also like nursing.
Like you can tell, like so they'll wear like furry shit with them. But I've seen a dude one time walking down the street. He had like a tail with him, like a little black and white one. I was like, oh, he's a furry.
Oh. There's nothing bad about furries.
I have mixed feelings about furries. I have mixed feelings about furries. I think they're great people. I know they have done some great things for society. And you know what? If we had more furries in our society, it'd be a lot more advanced. Because the way they make... Have you seen how they make them fursuits and how realistic they want them to work? They are engineers.
Yeah. They spend good money on their fursuits.
Yes.
My problem is the BO.
Like I said, I don't have anything bad to say about a furry. Oh. Well, science still hasn't gotten that far yet. It'll catch up.
All right. Yeah.
They need to work with mascots on that because, mascots have the internal fans and everything. I'm going to say one more thing. You know what? People give these groups a bad rap too. What's the ones that dress in the dog outfits, the ones that think they're dogs?
T-Pain's one.
I think they're so cute.
She's a dominatrix.
I think they're so cute. If you're a little puppy,
no, bar that has a bunch of them, so I can take it there if you ever come to
She likes being in control of man. She would love it if a man would bark at her.
Tell them to contact me.
That's why she likes Marines.
So I would have a couple of them around my house. I would
call him Rufus.
As long as you're house trained, you can stay around the house. I love it. I think it's so cute.
All right.
I take you for walks and everything.
To shift gears to a much more heavier topic. It's not going to be a long episode today. It's going to be kind of a shortish one.
We're 22 minutes in.
Yeah. But to shift gears to the heavier topic, recently in events in society, there has been an incident that's kind of taken the internet a little bit by storm and kind of having people debating and everything like that. So this Arizona man, I'm pretty sure most people know. I'll link this. I'll see if I can link something to the story in the bio as well. Oh, this also to warn people out there, we will be talking about a man who did unalive himself in a situation. So please, fair warning that we will be talking about mental health and stuff like that comes along with that. So fair warning for that. If this conversation is a little too heavy for people, please, we understand if you don't want to hear it, but this is what we're talking about for today.
And if you are loved...
Go right ahead, do the spiel.
And if you are a loved one is thinking about harming yourself and or you need somebody to talk to, please know that you can call 988 Lifeline. That is the self-harm and crisis lifeline that you can contact. You can also look at local resources near you. Please take care of yourselves.
And I'll also try to leave it as a link in the bio as well in this video for anybody out there. So an Arizona man got caught on camera at a bikini barista with no pants on, and the situation is, like I said, he's got caught at this barista. And then the barista who was behind the camera was filming him and recording him because he had no pants on from the waist down, nothing on from the waist down. And then he began to drive off because he realized that he was being recorded. And then within the following day, he took his own life because of the incident. He was also married and had children, and so yeah, there was newly married and had kids.
Newly married. I think he just got married, a child. Or something like that.
The conversation surrounding this, one person's perspective was, whilst it is sad that he felt like, whilst he is sad that he did do this to himself, there is a level of which we have to hold him accountable and responsible for what he did, which was he was driving around with no pants on and pulled up to a local establishment without them on. And that is a level of responsibility that he felt like he didn't have to take. Now, this is going to come off harsh, Yvonne's is you're a psychologist or they're a therapist? Which one is it?
What you need, baby? No,
She's
I'm
a psychologist, so she can probably talk a little bit more in depth of this. And we've also had a fair share of like responsibilities, accountabilities, and dealing with other people and everything. I will say this, that I do agree that he was trying to alleviate himself of responsibility because he was doing something that was just very much perverted, and he didn't want to take responsibility for that. So he thought the only way to, alleviate myself of it is to just do something like this, which sounds so tragic, but it's hard to see this in a different way. I also have another story that's not the same, but it has the same tone to it. So a 23-year-old rapper, this is a long time ago, a 23-year-old rapper, he was from a different country. I think he was like from Brazil or something like that. He got married to somebody who was about 10 years older than him. So she was in her 30s. And then on their honeymoon, he decided to have a intercourse with another person,
Mm-hmm.
And so his wife was coming back home early from shopping. Yeah, on his honeymoon.
He was having an affair.
He was having sex with one person.
Because that was kind of weird the way y'all did that.
He was having a menage a trois.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. 3 people were engaged.
No, the wife was not involved.
The wife is the 4th person.
One of them was the husband.
So 3 people were.
I think another one was his friend.
Getting it on with the husband and 2 other people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The wife came in. We're using fingers.
She was about to come into the hotel room.
Knocks on the door.
He decided that instead of getting caught in the act or trying whatever, he goes outside to the balcony and tries to leap across to the other side, and Sally fell. So it seemed like there's a little bit of a pattern of not wanting to take any responsibility for actions and behaviors. I will leave it up to you guys to talk about this. I've said my piece. I think that you should. I understand that people feel like their responsibilities, they should be held accountable for their actions, but it's hard to feel bad. I feel bad for like a parent or like the child who won't have that person no more. But at the same time, this individual made a decision that led to these decisions, and it's hard to really wrap your head around that. So whoever wants to go.
Right. Well, and they're similar in that choices made, choices lived with, but they're quite different. In that one chose to unalive himself, the other Joker thought he was going to get away scot-free. The power of Christ, I think, compelled him to think, yeah, you could jump across that balcony, you'll make it. I can only suspect the blood wasn't rushing to his the right head on that last one. That's the only thing I can say about that. But the other one, that chose to self-delete, but again, choices made, choices lived with. The story that I saw, a lot of people though blame the woman for taking the video of it. Pick-me's, a lot of pick-me's. Pygmishas. Yeah. And what right do you have, and we've talked about this before, not to kink shame people. You have absolutely every right to indulge in kinks that don't harm other people. You are infringing upon, that's what I was going to say. So he definitely was infringing upon this woman's consent. You can't do that, and from the video, the look on his face, the shock and the horror that, oh my God, she has a camera. Well, bud, you knew it was up. And I think she was perfectly within her right to put that picture up and say, do you know this man?
Actually, it was a mom stop him from doing this to other people on Facebook that exposed him, and that's how it spread on by wildfire. And I'm not interrupting him. Okay. And it just makes me so mad about the situation, because the people who are defending him, like, they weren't the people that were actually scared. And I think that's the issue that I find this issue with a whole lot of accountability of men by their peers, because this is a moment where it's just like, oh, of course his male peers don't care because they're willing to do some strange stuff like that themselves. But also the fact that it's just like, yeah,
jump across the balcony.
But it's also one of those things where it's just like, this isn't his first time. It couldn't have been his first time, because he was just married. He just had a child fairly recently. Okay. And what in his right mind would make him think that, oh, let me come by this place and do this thing? That means, and so bold to get so close to the server with no nervousness, no hesitation until he saw the camera. That means he had been doing something like this or something akin to this, and had just been either ramping up or actually was just like, oh, this was just his MO. So I get very upset at the fact that I don't even care about how he chose to deal with the consequences so much as I'm upset at the people defending the woman trying to protect other women.
Right.
And you get into that whole man versus bear thing, and it's just like,
there you go.
Once the bear, yes, a bear will eat me.
A bear would never. A bear would never drive up to the McDonald's without its pants on and want to fully flash a woman just to get, a charge.
With this whole sort of, I want to say, how do I say this correctly? This epidemic of men who feel like they're not as appreciated, or they're dealing with their own mental health and stuff like that. Straight men particularly, which we're not going to sit here and pretend like that's not a real thing. There are some men out there who definitely deal with the burden of a lot of weight on their shoulders, and they don't know how to carry it. They don't know who they can tell how they're carrying it and everything like that. That's a real factor. This is a different situation. This was somebody who was actively doing something that made a choice in this. It's one thing if where you don't have a choice in a situation. You're trying to make ends meet. You're trying to support your family, but nothing's working, nothing's happening. You're trying to keep your house on. You try to keep your house, your roof over your head. You're trying to keep your car. All this kind of stuff. That's one thing. This is somebody who actively, who, from what it seemed like, had a decent life. They had a wife. They had a child. They had a car. They had a job with some type of,
he had friends. He had a community, and then he still chose to do something like that.
So
because people poured out and people poured out to say how hurt they were that he was gone. So he had support. It just maybe he felt like he couldn't.
Or he was worried about what his new wife was going to do when she saw this, and was she going to take his child away and everything like that. But then you go and do this, and it's like, but you took yourself away from your child. Now your child will never.
You took it.
This will be the one memory that they'll have. Not the one, but this will be the last memory they'll ever see of you.
Right. The last, right. And it, I mean, and it goes into the things about kink shaming and things like that. Nobody's kink shaming. You should be able to engage in those things that you find pleasurable with other people who, like Star Mother said, give consent and are, on the same wavelength as you. But there's nude beaches, there's nude parties, there's kink parties, there's all kinds of things that you can do. But this also goes into the patriarchy and their very narrow definition of masculinity, of what is expected by males, what's, and we as queer people here have all felt this, but nobody's felt it more so than straight men. And so I don't understand why straight men keep upholding the system that is so firmly got its foot on your neck, just so you could, own the left, or own, or talk down to women. That's your big takeaway. You would rather live as a fraction of a person just to try to deny me of my humanity. It doesn't make sense when you look at how narrowly we define masculine and masculinity in the society. You would think men would be ready to punch the sky. See how warmed up I was there, Star Mother? I had limbered up.
You got to destroy the glass ceiling. I get it.
But you're right. It's like men. It's so funny. I said this to myself the other night. I was like, the only people who sit there and question masculinity most of the time if not the vast majority of the time, is men, straight men. They're always questioning they're always questioning another gay man's masculinity. Like, women do it too. I'm not alleviating women of anything, because some of y'all out there do the same shit too.
We do, but I don't think for most women, it doesn't bother us as much. You know what I mean? Like, it's not the big scary thing that's sleeping in our closets. You know what the big scary thing sleeping in our closets
but
are?
It's like they're the only ones who have to sit there and question masculinity in another man, whether or not you're a good man, you're this or that. And it's so funny because it's like,
right.
Clearly you guys don't have a definition of it either. Like, because there's so many different ones. Y'all don't have a definition of it. So why do you think that we're supposed to conform to some type of norm of it? And it's like,
Do y'all find that with like your straight friends, like especially you, Star Mother, in the military? Yeah. Well, but you work a very masculine job too, Kenneth. Notice how I said Kenneth. Do you find that if your male colleagues sort of know a bit more about your life and they know that you are,
I think my
I don't know how out you are, Well, and I get it. It's a safety issue also.
My job, like, I'm not afraid. You're not necessarily, and I'm comfortable with them. They actually no.
So do you get a lot of questions?
Didn't you get that one boy who really
liked you get like a lot of men like, hey, I have
that was my old job, not the new job. He's no longer there.
So he was.
That was the old job. This job is much different.
Put on your lip gloss. But that tells me that that's a person that's quite interested. For you to hyper focus on how I put on lip gloss or
I've had so many situations like that.
You know what I mean? Oh, that's a whole nother.
Like this job now, like a lot of them are like, a lot of them are much more upstanding and respectable. Yeah, they tell like dirty jokes and shit like that, but like they're not. None of them don't sound like they cheat on their wives. Like a lot of them are married. A lot of them have kids and everything, and they're much.
When they tell dirty jokes and they're about to tell a gay joke, do they clean it up?
Actually, I have yet
or
to
in
hear
some way apologize to you, and
you'd
be like,
yeah, at all. Very and surprisingly,
really?
like
very I like them.
little
I like them automatically
too. They very much keep, because we work with like 3 women.
Really?
I know this seems small because like a crew of like 20 of us, but like we work like 3 women, and there's women in the. But like they don't really go misogynistic, and they don't go homophobic. They kind of keep the jokes between like each other. Like they'll make fun of how someone's short, how someone's fat, how someone's this or like, but they don't really talk about like women in derogatory remark, because they actually stand up. It's like will defend the women that we work with and everything like that. So like it's actually interesting to see.
Really?
Huh?
You got openings and help want? You got openings there, help want and anything like that, just to let people know? Because that is not the norm.
Yeah. But like on our crew, I don't really hear a lot of misogyny. I don't really hear a lot of homophobia. So for them, they're much more like, we bust each other's balls with the guys, and we have fun with the women too. They don't just exclude them from anything. They have fun, but like it's just like it doesn't give that energy. I never felt uncomfortable. Yeah, I never did.
Where somebody had to go, hey, watch it. Yeah. What about you, Starma? The military. I am more than sure you have some stories to tell us. And for the audience, as he tells us this story, imagine shirtless Marines.
There's a whole
6'1", 6'2", 18, 19 years old, hairless, not a hair.
No, I just like that last part. I was like, I wish that was true. I really wish that wasn't such an issue. But in my experience,
anyway, we're gonna have to do an after dark podcast.
In terms of my experience with misogyny, against LGBT and women, I've been blessed enough where I have never those conversations don't happen around me. Or I'm the one who always kind of shuts them down, because one thing about me is that I'm gonna defend women above all else. Because the fuck a man gonna do for me? When was the last time a man helped me? But in terms of my gay experience,
no, really. really, no, really. Thank you for being an ally. The strongest allies are the ones that defend you when you're not in the room.
Because
I've been telling people that for years. That's your friend. That's your friend right there. When the person is not in the room, like if either one of you weren't in the room and somebody was talking shit about you, I've had this happen before. You could ask other people about it. I will defend you. I'll give that person. Usually, I'll tell that person, "Hey, look, I'm friends with this person. I fucks with this person." That's their warning to stop. You know, and if you don't stop, then I light into you. You know, that because I'm gonna be that friend whether you in the room or not. So that's don't underplay that. That's very important. That is a key character, personality core unlocked. Ting.
In terms of my experience with
go ahead, boy.
Being gay in the military, I haven't had to deal with a whole lot of homophobia to my face, but also usually when it's happening, I'm too stressed out to think about it, so it's gonna go over my head. Somebody's giving me a hard time, I'm already having a hard time. You can't make me pay attention to you. But I
have you ever felt unsafe though?
A multitude of different reasons. It's more so just like I have a problem with being around a large group of men at any one given time because they make me unsafe. But what I have dealt with and always personally make my mission to address is whenever somebody uses the "that's gay" or uses the F slur, I always make sure and like talk to them about like, hey, what do you mean by that? Like I immediately have the conversation, and I've had the conversation with people who are higher ranked than me, and that's when they start doubling back. We're like, no, that's not what I mean. That's not what I mean by it. It's like, so what did you mean that? What did you mean by that? Did you mean this? Did you mean that? Yes.
Right.
And people are still actively harming themselves, actively crying every night because people are using gay as a
unaliving
the word
themselves
gay as a negative connotative word. And it's just like there's a lot sometimes it's the small battles that really that help you win the war. And that's my small battle where I'll die on that hill where it's just like, hey, you're using that word. And I just want I want you to consciously understand when you use that word this way, this is what you mean. And as somebody who plays around in that pool water, are you trying to say that my lifestyle, my existence is a bad thing? If that's how you feel, that's fine. We'll have the conversation afterwards. But I want to know here and now, is this where you want to die on? And then when it comes to and then
is this the hill you
when it comes to the F slur, I always tell people it's just like, you realize that, so you're telling me that I should be burned. You're telling me I should be burned at the stake.
Right. Because for our listeners to understand what that F word means, and I don't say it even though I'm queer, I just don't feel comfortable saying it. But I will say nigga.
I'm not gonna lie. There's sometimes I want to call a certain person in our circle an F slur just because, girl, you do too. I won't say who it is though. I'll say who.
And I do believe in owning words, so and if you notice in our larger group, I don't ever use the F slur.
None of us do, but we'll slip up and be like,
I don't feel like that's the word.
People.
Right. But I won't slip up because I don't feel like that's a word that I have the right
Trey had
to
asked,
own.
so what is it like in New York in June? I was like, well, it's be outside. I had to stop myself. No, I caught myself before I said it, but I'm like, no, people be outside.
No.
I know. I know. But to give context to that, my understanding that word is the bundle that was used to set people who were women, also to set women on fire, who were accused of witchcraft, whatever, but also to set men on fire who were accused of being anything that deviated from the norm, the patriarchy. And so that's where you get that lovely and in fact in cooking you could use it in its correct term. I won't use it, but it's a F of herbs.
It's also a cigarette.
and that's a cooking term. A bundle Yeah, and it's a slang in the UK for a cigarette, but also, yeah, if you ever cook and you ever hear some old person say, "Give me a F of herbs," don't get upset.
Yes,
they
but
just
it's
mean a
always
grouping of
whenever,
herbs.
and that like tells you the cold connotation is just like. I remember the most powerful way that I heard it being used was just like, "Oh, what should we do with this guy? Oh, just throw him in with the rest of the F slur." And that's the reason why it always is kind of like sticks with me, where it's just like, I don't want to use this word. I like, if somebody of the Rainbow Mafia wants to use that word, then who am I to take the right? Where it's just like, I won't say the N word. I very rarely say the N word, and I make a point of that.
Yeah, I do feel alone when I'm using the N word. I'm like, none of these other niggas are using the N word.
And it's
I wonder if I need to stop.
And I will,
and yet I don't.
A black person using the N word, it's just like, will never, like, that's not my circus, not my monkey. That's their truth. It's a word that they should be able to use. But I hardly use that.
I understand what you're saying.
Because one, I'm not around that many black people. Two, it's kind of like, the only reason why I will say this is if you have supremely pissed me off to the point where it's just like, yeah, no, at this point, that's what you are. That's what you're acting like.
I mean, bitch is a different type of word, but that can be used as anything.
But you're using it in a negative.
It can be, but I don't think
it's joyful. Like I use it because I grew up with it being used in a joyful way. That
I think we're getting off topic, so let's just get
having fun, just
it.
laughing, just Oh Lord, okay. But no, but it's, it all kind of comes, full circle.
It was just like,
and talking about.
Oh, so go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean
words. So that's really one of the bigger reasons why I don't use it at all, because it wasn't used around me.
Oh, my family's.
Did not know.
Oh, I didn't say that. I said I come from a devout Christian family.
Hell no,
girl. You're too kidding.
Not one bit. No, the.
Oh, I thought you said you can't, because I was about to confess. I was about to confess something. Are you
like
ready?
That. And I made a joke one time that, oh my God, don't tell me you went to Catholic school.
I studied. Mm-hmm. I did, and I studied for a while to be a nun.
Lord's fan.
Now it makes so much sense.
I know.
Everything's adding up.
God. I would be.
He was repressed for so long.
If I were a nun. A bride of Christ? Oh my God.
I made a joke one time that said, like, old people only get religious when they're close to death, so.
What's that? Wait a minute.
Yeah, but you're not close to. I'm talking about, like.
Wait a minute.
No. that ain't a false statement, though, because I know a lot of black people who was cussing and swearing, got like 12 kids and shit like that. I'm so, oh, thank you, Lord. I'm like,
yeah, you're right. Thank you. All of a sudden they develop this devoutness. Thank you, Jesus. Help me see another day. I hope to never be that person. I hope, like, on my 98th, 99th birthday, that I'm still saying this, nigga this, nigga that, fuck y'all, suck my dick from the back. Yes. Of course, they'll probably have me in one of those facilities, but I hope my personality still is my personality.
I know we kind of went on a little bit of a tangent, but just to clear up the story about the man who unalived himself. It is sad that a father, I know. Yeah, it is sad because, yes, he was a father, and that child doesn't have a father anymore. And the woman, she doesn't have a husband anymore, and a mother doesn't have a son and family members, but at the same time, he did not want to take responsibility for his actions. And I think that says a lot more about his character than this.
And it is in no way, shape, or form the fault of the woman.
Yeah, like, let's not blame him that.
That was his choice to drive up there. That was his choice to try to involve her in kink against her. I
think a lot more situations in life
those
you need
were
to
all
celebrate with more nuance and start realizing that, okay, sometimes this person is in the right, but sometimes no, this person's in the wrong.
I don't think this is a conversation of nuance, though. What
but
he
I'm
did
saying,
was
like,
wrong.
There's situations like situations where they'd be like, well, what about this person? What about this person? Well, let's look at this situation itself, dissect it on both sides, and go, okay, then we can say, okay, maybe this person was wrong. Like, maybe this person was right. You know what I mean? Like, there's this I don't want to have this conversation, but not necessarily. I just want to bring it into the forefront. Like there's this person who does videos online who's a trans person, and she'll go to like restaurants and stuff, and it's like, on one hand, I understand
know what you're talking about.
the misgendering, getting offended by that. At the same time, also someone losing their job, and you cautiously kind of keep going to places, and it's like you always have your camera set up, or you always actively like, why is it? Like, where's the intent behind this?
You're intentionally kind of now like, trying to
understand the misgendering, but at the same time, does every restaurant you go to, a person lose their job?
And that also sort of goes to back with what we're talking about with TikTok and social media. You know, when people get a brand or a niche, they have to lean into it. And that person that you're talking about, that is their brand, their niche, right? To have these situations. So you have to set up these situations because they're not going to always happen, you know, the same time, the same way. And so there's something so, I mean, it's one thing about, you know, I always think about also the TikTok stories where people retell other people's stories, but don't tell you they're retelling another person's story. You know, they sort of like own it as their own, you know, but again, that's their brand, their niche, but there's something disingenuous about that.
And I'm not saying that
this is not
they're not allowed to go to any old restaurant.
You know what I mean?
They're allowed to go wherever they feel like going, obviously. But as me as an individual, I've definitely made an active choice to go to either queer-friendly restaurants, Black-friendly restaurants, Black-owned restaurants. In my life, again, I live in New York City, so that's more common than probably wherever.
Don't go to Roscoe's House of Chicken and Waffles. They're Republicans, and they don't treat people, and they don't pass their health inspections. Sorry, you brought it up, and my brain was like
that part. But like, it's just that's my conscious effort to go to restaurants that I know I'm going to be at least welcome.
And then the intentionality. Your intentionality is not to go viral.
Food.
You know, like right. And you have to kind of look at what is the intention of that person who's setting up a camera doing this. You know, is it your intention to grow awareness about trans issues? If that's the case, then putting everybody on blast who maybe misgenders you or, you know, does this and who apologizes, because there's been some where the person apologizes, you know, and you're still right. So what is your, I guess I need to know, what is your intention? What is, before I buy into what you're doing, what is the point here? Why are we all here? Which, by the way, can we shout out this nail color? N25. It's like a pinky nude. It's so like romantic. James, who did it, you know, he was holding my hand and, you know, I was looking in his eyes and he was looking in my eyes and he was like, that's going to be 55.70. I said, yes, Lord, that's beautiful.
I'm going to make sure I get my toes up before this frolic weekend, because I definitely having sandals on the whole time.
Now, real quick, because I know we're pressing up on time. Frolic weekend. When does this happen? Are we going to be vlogging? What are we doing for Frolic? Besides giving
it happens from June 18th to June 20. No, it's not.
Yeah,
it's not.
I'm thinking it's around the
corner. He talks about it fast, but that's just because like he keeps it at the front of his mind as his big gaycation of the year. Whereas me, I'm trying to figure out
the only gaycation of the year.
Yeah, his.
Wait, two things. I want to put a pin because I want to go back to Star Mother where you're traveling to, but I want to experience this with you. Like, I want to see the outfits. I want to see the vision. I want to see the whole thing. I want you to do it and walk. I love when I'm watching vlogs and stuff where I feel like I have traveled with that person. I have inhabited that seat next to them on the flight.
I do not know what I would do with it. The only person who would be able to do that and actually get something out of it is the big one, and that's about it. The big one.
Titties?
What's the big one? Wait, what?
Yes.
I'm confused. What happened?
Oh,
Nico, honey.
Who's big titties?
Nico would like
Oh.
I was gonna
but
say,
you could do your
when
own.
he first came out was really big. Was really just like big titty bitch.
I call him Big Titty McGee.
Big Titty McGee. Oh my God. No, but I would love to see like a get ready with me, just a getting ready for Frolic weekend kind of thing. I think that would be so much fun. That's just my thought.
Oh, I was.
But Star Mother, you were saying you were traveling to where now?
There was this one Panamanian.
Yes, that's where I'm going to retire. I thought you said that.
I can go scout it out for you. I can go scout it out real quick.
That is my. Yes, I am looking to get residency in Panama and become a Panamanian. The
You
hat
know
and everything.
Spanish?
I'm just going to be like, did I not tell you this, Kenneth? I said
Okay.
I'm learning.
Oh,
I take
on the
Spanish lessons
Lord's
every
Day.
Sunday. I'm learning Spanish. On the Lord's Day.
Yeah.
But did I not tell you that, Kenneth, in one of our private conversations? I said, when I get my place, don't ask no questions. Just here's a plane ticket. I'm in Panama now. Just, just come on out. Just come on out. I've heard good things. Panama or Costa Rica? I've been to Costa Rica.
I've
Costa
had a few
Rica is
friends
very
who've been
nice.
thinking about becoming expats.
But yes.
And so because of them, I get the algorithm telling me like, hey, these are the best places for expats to live this year. And they'll say like, all you need is this. Yeah.
Yes.
It might be because of you.
Yeah. I know. Did you get something from Ghana? Because as descendants of slaves or the enslaved, we can each become Ghanaian citizens very easily. More African countries need to do that. And that's a discussion that we can have another day. If you could become a citizen of like South Africa, Nigeria, Kenya, one of these African nations with, very easy, low
if we
effort.
Can get rid of the third wave colonialism happening right now, sure.
But keep in mind, I know this sounds terrible as a petty colonialist. Some of that colonialism is good because you need the infrastructure that the money brings for schools, hospitals, roads. That's the little capitalist in me. That's the Generation X in me. Like, but you need the money for XYZ.
It's one of those things where
I
it's
am
just
the
like,
slippery slope.
From my readings and like knowing what I know about Africa and third wave colonialism that's happening, it's kind of just like, I would love to be able to go to Africa, but Africa as a continent will never know peace as long as it still has resources. And that's the reason why it's just like, I don't know if I would ever want to live in the motherland.
Yeah, that's true.
I definitely would love to visit someplace that's safe. And there are places that's safe. There are places that are like first world country status.
Oh yeah, wonderful places that I've heard. Wakanda, I hear, is really.
How do you know?
Nice.
All right, I'm wrapping this up now. I'm wrapping this up now.
How do you know it's not real?
Of what's real or fake? When was the last time you left New York?
Oh, you know what? Both of y'all can go fuck yourself.
Thank you. Have you talked to anybody who's been to Wakanda? Exactly.
Don't worry about what we do over here.
Shut up.
Just know that we're more well traveled than you.
Thank you. Me and Star Mother going to Wakanda next year.
Oh,
we were gonna invite you, but you didn't disinvite yourself. Go ahead.
What you gonna learn? There's more to life.
Don't you dare quote the Wiz. Don't you dare quote the Wiz. Don't you dare quote the Wiz right now. Anytime I knew exactly what that sentence was going. Don't you dare quote that goddamn movie.
I love this about us. We can have serious conversations about, serious topics, but at the end, we could always bring it around to the important stuff.
I'm wrapping this shit up right now.
Like getting citizenship in Wakanda.
Thank you to everybody for joining us today.
That's important.
I will be leaving the website to the how can I word this correctly? Prevention hotlines and everything in the link in the bio. Yes. Please, if anybody out there who needs it, please use it. And if you are dealing with some stuff in life and you have family members who may want to hurt themselves, just try to check on them, try to have a little conversation with them. Sometimes the smallest gestures can be the biggest moments for them. So
go take them to a yoga class. Sometimes you got to take them to something that gives them a community, that makes them feel wanted.
Go for a walk in the park, have a gentle conversation with them and tell them that somebody's there in your corner. That's all.
Stick some ass in the corner.
But one of my professors used to say something that tethers them to this realm. You want something that tethers them. Yeah. And community is a good way to be tethered. So until next time.